A father told his 15-year-old son he knew a shortcut. He had a paper map in his pocket and total confidence in his head, and he trusted the confidence. Every turn he made, the map quietly told him he was wrong, and every turn he ignored it. 2 days later, only the boy walked out, alone with the map that had been right the whole time. His father had the compass in his pocket the entire way. He just trusted the wrong instrument, and the wrong instrument was himself. The boy walked into my station alone at 4 in the afternoon, and I knew before he said a word. You learn to read it in this job, the specific way a person moves when the worst thing has already happened, and they are the only one left to tell it. He was 15. He was calm in the way that is so much worse than crying, a flat, careful calm. And he was holding a folded paper map in one hand the way you would hold something that had betrayed you. He put it on my counter. He told me his father was still out there. And then he told me in order clearly, like a boy who had spent a very long night rehearsing it, everything that had happened. And it is because of him, because of how carefully that 15-year-old remembered, that I can tell you this story at all. Welcome back to Doomed Departures. What you are about to hear is a composite story. It is built from real searches, real terrain, and the real and quiet way this canyon separates confidence from competence. But the father and son at the center of it are an invention, assembled from every family I have watched walk off the map, certain they did not need it. No real person is named here. I am going to call the boy Sam, because he earned a name and not a case number, and because by the end of this you are going to be as proud of him as I am. His father, I will simply call his father. Sam lived. I want you to know that from the very start, so that you can watch the rest of this the way it deserves to be watched, which is with your whole attention on the boy. His father did not. And the difference between them was not luck. It was a map, and who was willing to read it. Bryce Canyon is not, on its face, a place that looks like it could kill you, and that is part of the problem. It is not a vast furnace like the low deserts or a sheer wall like the big canyons. It is a strange and beautiful maze of stone spires, hoodoos, thousands of them, orange and pink and cream, standing in ranks like a petrified crowd, and from the rim it looks like a garden. But down inside it, off the marked trails, it becomes something else entirely. Every hoodoo looks like every other hoodoo. Every drainage looks like the last drainage. There are no long sight lines, no single landmark to walk toward, just walls of identical stone that close around you and turn you gently without your ever noticing, until the way back is a direction you can no longer point to. And it sits high above 8,000 feet, which means thin air, hard sun in the day, and a cold at night that can drop below freezing even in summer. It is a labyrinth with a temperature swing, and the marked trails through it exist for a reason. Getting lost in a place like this is not a failure of intelligence. It is a failure the terrain is built to produce. A person navigates without knowing it by keeping a rough count of the turns they have made and a rough sense of the direction they started from, and the hoodoo maze quietly corrupts both. Every bend looks like the last bend, so the turns stop registering. Every spire looks like the one behind you, so the landmarks give you nothing. And the walls block the sun and the rim and the horizon, the three things a lost person instinctively reaches for, so that within an hour, without a single dramatic moment, a confident man can be walking a slow circle, absolutely certain he is walking a straight line. The maze does not trap you with cliffs. It traps you with sameness. The father was in his 50s, fit enough in a blue polo shirt, and he was, by every account Sam gave me and everything I pieced together afterward, a good dad. I want to say that plainly because the easy version of this story makes him a fool, and he was not a fool. He was a father who wanted to give his son something better than the crowded trail, a real adventure, a memory, the kind of day a boy remembers his whole life. He had a paper map, a real one folded in his pocket, and he was proud of it. Proud of being the kind of man who still knew how to read a map in a world of phones. And that pride, that specific, well-meaning, fatherly pride, is the thing that killed him. Not because the map was wrong, the map was perfect. The map was right about every single thing. He just trusted his confidence more than he trusted the map. And out here, that is a fatal preference. I have turned that over 100 times because it does not sit easily. The idea that a good and loving intention can be the front end of a fatal one. But it can, and out here, it often is. The people who get families killed in this canyon are almost never careless. They are more often devoted. They wanted the memory so badly, wanted so much to be the dad who showed his kid something real, that the wanting became a kind of proof to them that it would be fine. Love is not a substitute for a map either. It only makes the map matter more. Sam was 15 and he did what 15-year-old sons do, which is trust his father. That is not a criticism of the boy. It is the most natural thing in the world. When your dad says he knows the way, you believe him because he is your dad, because he has always known the way, because knowing the way is part of what a dad is. Sam followed his father off the marked trail and into the hoodoos on a warm morning with 2 water bottles between them and a paper map his father was holding, but it would turn out not really reading. And here is where I have to tell you about the map, because the map is the second character in this story, and it spent the entire day trying to save them. Every choice that day was made twice. Once by the father, out loud, with total confidence, and once by the map, silently, correctly, in a language the father had decided he was too sure to need. I'm going to give you both, because the gap between them is the whole story, and because the gap between them is a sentence I want you to carry out of this. Confidence is not a compass. His father said the shortcut would save them an hour. He had seen from the rim a drainage that seemed to cut straight down and across to where they wanted to be, and he pointed at it with the certainty of a man in a boardroom. The map said the drainage was not a trail. The map showed no trail there at all, only the tight brown contour lines that mean steep and broken and slow, the lines that are the map's way of saying do not. His father saw a shortcut. The map showed a trap. They took the shortcut. An hour in, when the drainage forked, his father said to go left, because left felt like it curved back toward the rim, and feeling is what a confident man navigates by. The map said the left fork drained away from the rim, deeper into the maze, toward the low country where the hoodoos are densest and the walls are highest. His father did not take the map out to check. He had a feeling. The map had the truth. They went left. By early afternoon, they had been walking far longer than any shortcut could justify, and Sam, gently, the way a boy raises something with a father he does not want to embarrass, asked if maybe they should turn around. His father said they were close, that he recognized that formation up ahead, the big one. They had passed it on the way in. The map, if he had looked, would have told him that in this canyon, every big formation looks like the one you passed. That recognition is the least reliable sense a person owns down here, that the human eye was simply not built to tell 10,000 identical spires apart. His father recognized a hoodoo he had never seen in his life. They kept going. There was a fourth choice, and it was the one that closed the door. Late in the afternoon, they came to a high spot, a small rise where the walls opened just enough to see out, and his father looked at the sea of identical spires and said the rim must be that way and pointed. The map, spread out on that rise, would have shown him the truth in 10 seconds. That they had walked nearly the opposite direction from the one he was pointing. That every hour they had spent had carried them farther from the rim, not closer. It was the last place they could still have fixed this easily. He did not take the map out. He pointed with his hand, and they followed his hand, and the door quietly closed behind them. This is the part that is hard to explain to anyone who has not watched it happen, and it is the reason confident people die out here more often than timid ones do. Somewhere in there, the father almost certainly knew. Some part of him had done the math on the hours and the water and the angle of the sun and knew they were lost. But knowing you are lost and admitting you are lost are two different acts, and for a certain kind of man, in front of his son, the admission is by far the harder of the two. To stop, to sit down, to take out the map and say, I got us lost, I was wrong, we need to get help. That is a thing his whole life had trained him not to do. So he did the other thing. He got louder, he got more certain. He turned his fear into confidence because confidence was the tool he had always reached for, and he marched his son deeper into the maze, telling him the whole way that it was fine, it was just around the next bend, he had it handled. He did not have it handled. The map knew. The map had known for hours. Let me ask you something, and I am asking as gently as I know how, because most of us have a little of this father in us. When was the last time you kept going past the point you knew was wrong? Because turning around meant admitting you had been wrong in front of someone whose opinion of you mattered? Tell me in the comments, not to confess, just to notice it. Because the father did not die of the desert, he died of the distance between what he knew and what he was willing to say out loud, and that distance is one that every single one of us has walked at least a little way down. The son does not negotiate. His father had said they would be back before dark, and the sky said otherwise. And when the light started to go, so did the last of the father's certainty. Because certainty is easy in daylight and very hard in the cold. Bryce at night, at that elevation, even in summer, turns bitter. That cold is its own separate killer, and it is the one nobody down there was dressed for. At that elevation, the heat drains out of a body fast once the sun is gone, and a person who spent the whole day sweating out water he could not replace has almost nothing left to burn to stay warm. Dehydration and cold work together, each one making the other worse, and they work fastest on the exhausted, and by nightfall, the father was the more exhausted of the two, because he had spent the day not just walking, but performing, holding up a confidence that was costing him far more than he ever let his son see. They had dressed for a warm morning walk, not a night out on the ground. They had by now almost no water left because 2 bottles is a confident amount for a shortcut and a cruel joke for a day and a night lost in a maze. And this is where the boy, quietly, without any fuss, began to do the things that saved his life. He had a phone with a battery that was not full, and instead of burning it searching for a signal that was not there, he turned it off to save it, for the one thing it might still be good for. He took charge of the water without ever making his father feel it, small sips rationed. He was 15 years old, and while his father narrated confidence into the dark, his son had quietly started navigating reality. I asked him about that later, how he knew to do those things, the phone, the water, and he shrugged the way boys do and said he just thought about what they would need tomorrow instead of what they wanted right then. That is the whole of survival in one sentence from a 15-year-old. His father was navigating by how he wanted the day to have gone. His son was navigating by what the night was actually going to ask of them. One of those is confidence, and one of those is competence, and I have worked enough of these to tell you exactly which one walks back out. By the second day, his father was in trouble, and I'm going to tell you this part carefully because Sam had to live it and you only have to hear it. The cold of the night and the sun of the day and the water they did not have had done to his father what those things do, and they do not care how confident a man is. In fact, they take the confident ones hard because the confident ones push the longest before they fall. His father could not keep going. He knew it before Sam did. And in the one decision of that whole trip that I cannot fault, the last clear-headed thing he did, he told his son to leave him. To take the map and the phone and the water and to walk out and get help. It is the hardest thing I can imagine asking of a boy, and it is the bravest thing I have ever heard of one doing. Sam did not want to go. His father made him. And that, in the end, was the father's finest moment and his last real gift, because staying would only have killed them both. So a 15-year-old boy walked out of that maze alone. I've thought about that walk more than almost anything in this job. He did the thing his father could not, which was to stop trusting his feeling and start trusting the map. He took it out. He read it, really read it, the contour lines and the drainages, and he did the humble, unglamorous, life-saving thing, which was to follow the terrain uphill toward the rim, toward the one direction that was always going to lead to people no matter how lost you were. He turned the phone on once, briefly, at the high point, got a single bar, and that single bar was enough. And then he kept walking, a scared kid with a folded map, doing everything right, until the maze finally let him out onto a marked trail, and the marked trail led him to my station at 9 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. We went in fast. We had a starting point because Sam gave us one. Precise, calm, better than most adults could have managed. The fork, the drainage, the direction, all of it. And we found his father. We found him because his son had told us exactly where to look, and we were still too late. Because the canyon had had 2 days and a night, and we had only hours. There is no version of this where the timing works. The father had spent the safety margin, all of it, on the way in, one confident wrong turn at a time, and there was none of it left by the time anyone knew to come looking. Sam did everything a person could possibly do. He did more than a grown man would have. It was not enough to save his father, and I have had to watch that boy carry that, which is its own kind of wound. The knowledge that you did everything right, and it still was not enough. If this story has done something to you, if you are a parent or a kid or anyone who has ever followed someone confident to a place they should not have gone, then do the small thing that carries it to the next family standing at a trailhead, like this video, so it reaches them before they walk off the map instead of after. Subscribe so you're here for the next one, not for me and not for a number on a screen. Do it so that one more father somewhere takes the map out, checks it, and is brave enough to say the hard words out loud. I think I got us turned around, let us go back. Here's the whole of it, and I learned it from a 15-year-old boy holding a map in my station. Confidence is not a compass, it feels like one. It points somewhere, firmly, and it makes you feel certain, and out in the ordinary world, where the stakes are low and the ground forgives you. Confidence is often enough, and a confident man is often rewarded for it. But a canyon does not care how sure you are. The only things that actually tell you where you are, the map, the contour lines, the honest and humble reading of the ground under your feet, do not require confidence at all. They require the opposite. They require you to admit you do not already know, and to look. The father had the compass in his pocket the entire time. He just trusted the wrong instrument, and the wrong instrument was himself. The boy walked into my station alone at 9 minutes past 4, and he put a paper map on my counter, and that map was perfect. It had been right about everything, all day, every fork, every drainage, every warning written in brown contour lines. It had done its whole job. The only thing a map cannot do is make a person read it. Sam reads maps now. He told me that months later when he came back, older in a way that 15-year-olds should never have to be. He reads them carefully all the way before he trusts a single step. And he does the thing his father could not, which is to believe the map over the feeling every time. It is the inheritance his father left him, bought at the worst price there is. And it is the reason that boy is going to grow old. Next time, we leave the high desert for the water, where confidence sinks at exactly the same rate as doubt, and the river takes the strong swimmer who is sure he did not need the vest. Until then, when someone you trust says they know a shortcut and something small in you is not sure, do the brave thing, the humble thing, the thing that keeps people alive. Ask to see the map, and then read it yourself. This has been Doomed Departures. Stay safe, and we will see you on the next one.